Do not leave your cares at the door. Do not leave there your pain, your sorrows, or your joys. Bring them with you into this place of care. Put them on the common altar of life and offer them to the possibility of our worship. Come then, and let us offer ourselves to transformation by the creative force that flows through us and through all of life. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm the Reverend Molly Housh Gordon, the minister of this congregation. We have a practice of giving verbal, visual descriptions of ourselves as we come to the pulpit to speak, and of any images that we project in order to be accessible for those with visual disabilities. I am a pale woman with long red hair pulled back, wearing a black blouse and blue blazer. And this morning, we turn our attention to our theme for January. Each month, we choose a spiritual theme to explore together. And our theme for January is formation and transformation as we enter a new year together. And each month, to go with our theme, we have a centering song that we sing together at the beginning of the service every week. And so this morning, we are learning that song for the very first time. It's called Becoming by Mary Gregolia. And Violet is going to teach you the melody, and then we'll join in singing together. The words are printed in your order of service. And this week, you're going to get the chance to sing it again at the end of the service, just to really get it in our bones and our vocal cords this morning. And so I invite you to rise or remain seated as you are most comfortable in just a moment after we've learned the melody from Violet as we sing together our centering song for the month, Becoming.
So it goes like this. I am who I'm becoming. I am all that I've done. I am what I am dreaming. I've only just begun. Let's try that much together. I am who I'm becoming. I am all that I've done. I am what I am dreaming. I've only just begun. And our second part goes like this. I am who I'm becoming. Try that together. I am who I'm becoming. I am all I have done. I am what I am dreaming. I've only just begun. Beautiful. You are who you're becoming. We've only just begun.
I'm Sam Otten, the worship associate for this morning. I'm a white man, middle-aged. I have blonde hair on the sides and back of my head, and I'm wearing a kind of grayish, dark green sweater today. And I'm here to now help us light our chalice, which represents the cup of community that holds us and the flame of spirit that sustains us. So let us share together our words of affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to speak the truth in love, and to help one another.
Good morning. I'm a little bit hoarse this morning. I'm Jamila Batchelder, the Director of Religious Education here. I am a middle-aged white woman with lots of dark blonde, out-of-control hair. I'm wearing a red cardigan and a royal blue t-shirt with hearts that says, "The BMI is trash." Happy New Year. Before we begin our centering, cold and flu season has struck our volunteers, and we are down an aide in the Potter preschool class. Is there anyone who'd be willing to join that class today? We've got John. Thank you so much. For our centering, there were rocks. We're going to center using rocks that you might have picked up as you walked in. If you did not pick one up, you can raise your hand and we will bring one to you. Okay. So we have a new spiritual practice for the month. And perhaps this is the first spiritual practice any of us did in our lives. One that many of us done 1,000 times since. To find a rock, to hold it, Molly, we have one over here. To hold it in our hands, knowing it is something special. What is it about rocks that draws us, inspires our sense of wonder and reverence and joy? Perhaps it is their sense of durability, that they have been here long before us, that they are as old as time, that they have witnessed so much. But of course, though the materials that make rocks are truly ancient, rocks are not unchanging. The former earth science teacher in me is resisting the urge to launch into a detailed and absolutely fascinating account of the rock cycle, though perhaps not all my former students seem to share my fascination. But simple enough to say, each rock that you hold in your hand has been through an incredible and unique journey of formation and transformation. So for our centering, I want you to hold this rock in your hand and really examine it. Its color and texture, its weight, density, and structure. Is it organized crystals or a mishmash of minerals? Is its surface smooth, pitted, rough, jagged? Each facet and edge has been shaped by some force it has encountered. Imagine its beginning in the ocean of magma deep below us, swirling and churning, part of some great interconnected mass of heat and minerals. And then, through 1,000 different processes, some piece of this whole cooled, and a rock was formed. Maybe it formed fast or slow, above ground or deep below, gently or explosively. Its origin shaped it in some special way, creating something that hadn't existed before. Its own rock. And even if another rock formed exactly the same way under exactly the same conditions, it might be completely different because of some difference in their composition. Each one so breathtakingly unique. But it didn't remain just as it was formed. The forces of wind and water, of freezing and thawing, of breaking and cracking and wearing away, reshaped what was there. Perhaps broke it down into a million little pieces that seemed like they would never feel whole again. And then they settled, they rested, they began to form anew, knit themselves back together into something different. Changed from what it was, perhaps some of the old bits there, but incorporating 1,000 new little bits. And maybe there was pressure. So much so that everything that it was made of stayed the same, but they restructured themselves into something completely new. Maybe hardened diamonds or energy-rich coal. And then maybe it melted again to rejoin that ocean of magma. Maybe the rock you hold in your hand has changed 100, 1,000, 1,000,000 times. Let yourself feel the absolute wonder, the reverence of this moment that brings this rock and you together today. How are you like this rock? How are you being formed and transformed in every moment? How is this moment transforming you?
Good morning. I am George Grimm Howell, the intern minister of this congregation. I'm a middle-aged man with very little hair, a blazer that is light gray, and a dark blue shirt underneath today. And now, during a moment of contemplative music, I invite you into our weekly ritual of stones and water. And those of you with us online are also invited into a time of contemplation during quiet music, and you may wish to share your joy or sorrow in the chat to be spoken aloud during our time of prayer. For those in the sanctuary, you are welcome to come forward and take a stone. We recommend one of the ones from the bowls as opposed to the ones you're holding. And these stones represent any of the hopes and fears that you bring with you this morning. And drop the stone into the water, which represents the embrace of our community. Those of you in person who wish to have your joy or sorrow spoken aloud may write it on a slip of paper in the back on the table in front of the window, and that will be shared during the time of prayer. Please join me in a spirit of prayer or meditation. Great Spirit of the earth, Gaia, Mother, we call on you. In your womb we are formed and reformed, shaped and reshaped in the great cauldron of geological time, unknown and unknowable. May we in this tender moment whisper a word of gratitude that creation did not end on the sixth day, but joyously rolls on age after age, across the centuries, the years, the days, continuing now to this very moment inside our forming and transforming hearts. To live is to change. To change is to find our sacred purpose. Father Time, teach us to love our layers, the deposits of bygone seas of joys and sorrows that have built up the foundations of who we are. Mother of creation, teach us to be fearless as we are cast into the fires that melt and mold and harden us during times of upheaval and injustice. Great Spirit, teach us to trust the transformation, to hang on tight as we suffer the pressure and the heat, as our souls deep in darkness await the metamorphosis. That day when finally we emerge from the womb of life transformed, our dusty limestone turned to lustrous marble. May our transfigured hearts be hewn into tools that give life, or works of art that inspire, or maybe a smooth, flat stone flung from a child's hand that skips on water for one sparkling moment. And when change comes again, may we be content to let the ocean waves of time gently release us as gentle grains of sand to caress the toes of curious beachcombers. Let our lives be formed and reformed and transformed again for love and justice, for we know that this is holy. Amen, and blessed be. I invite you now to sing together. Remain seated and join us in hymn number 86, Blessed Spirit of My Life.
Our reading is a poem by Parker Palmer called Grand Canyon. They say the layered earth rose up, ancient rock leviathan, trailing ages in its wake. lifting earth mass toward the sun while coursing water cut the rock away, to leave these many storied walls, expose of ages gone. Around this breathless emptiness, more wondrous far than earth had ever known. My life has risen layered too. Each day, each year, in turn, has left its fossil life and sediments, evidence of lived and unlived hours, the tedium, the anguish, yes, the joy, that some heart-deep vitality keeps pressing upward toward the day I die. And spirit cuts like water through it all, carving out this emptiness so inner eye can see the soaring height of canyon walls within, walls whose very color, texture, form, redeem in beauty all my life has been. The darkness and the light, the false, the true, while deep below the living water, while deep below the living, waters run, cutting deeper through my parts, to resurrect my grave-bound heart, making, always making, all things new.
Round and round we go, round and round we go, round and round we go, round and round we go. We are here with one another, sharing our love of life. Seasons come, seasons go, life unfolds, more beauty to show. Mountaintop, valley low, oh Mother Earth, teach me so. Round and round we go, 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 round and round we go. We are here with one another, sharing
What we have to know in our bones, made as they are of mineral and marrow, is that even stone is always in flux. And what we have to remember in our bones, made as they are of stardust and water, is that we are of the same source as the stone. We are shaped like clay, carved like marble, rubbed smooth and broken apart. Change is the nature of this world, even for stone and especially for us. Change is our nature for good and for ill. In small, intimate ways, in large social ways, and in grand geologic time as well. Change is the nature of the universe, and so it is our nature. It is both difficult and beautiful to know that we are in perpetual formation, like the great canyons and the river bluffs, buffeted by wind and water and one another until our edges are smooth, roughed, or otherwise shaped. It is both beautiful and difficult to know that we are in perpetual formation, like every stone of the earth, never reaching a final form. Stasis, an illusion. Only our timeline varies a little from the stone, that and the tenderness of our flesh. In October last year, my family gathered halfway between one another's homes near a cavern in Branson, Missouri, to celebrate my brother's 36th birthday. It had been just over 6 months since a sturdy chunk of our world had crumbled down into a great crevasse with his stage 4 cancer diagnosis. But by the time we gathered, he had come out the other side of some treatment complications and was feeling good. He still is. Praise science. Yes. Praise sheer luck. Praise everything. Praise every moment of love and presence. And so it was from decidedly less shaky ground that I descended together with my parents, brother and sister-in-law, spouse, and children into the depths of Talking Rock's cavern, one of approximately 7,500 karst features in this cave state of ours. Karst is the word for landscape characterized by caves, springs, sinkholes, and losing streams that lose water into the ground as they flow downstream. Missouri is full of all of these features because it is rich in dolomite and limestone, which are types of stone that can be dissolved by water. And so slightly acidic rainwater filters into the ground and enters cracks and joints in the bedrock, slowly dissolving it away. In time, that water enlarges these tiny passageways into great caves, forming mineral deposits from dissolved rock, creating speleothems, which are cave formations like stalactites and stalagmites. So many delicious words for the stone. And so it is through the erosion of stone by the steady, slow force of water that great cathedrals have opened up under our feet here in Missouri across millions of years. I recall a few fanciful Missouri cavern trips as a child. I think there was one that I rode a little train car into like a roller coaster to see a laser light show over the cave walls, my brother and I both shivering with fear and excitement. But this cave was a little less fantastical with human alteration. And this was my first descent as an adult. I walked behind my brother down into the earth where we will all one day return. And I was struck with a new awe, almost beyond describing, one shaped by maturity, full of loss and joy, small hopes and fresh fears. I felt myself entering the perspective of geologic time. The stone formations underground were intensely harsh and indescribably delicate. There were veils like waving fabric, long, slender tentacles of stone reaching for our heads, bulbous coral formations coming up from the floor like rock vegetation. And I was stunned to realize that all of it was forged by nothing more than a trickle of water and a long, long time. I remembered down in the cave with my family all around me, an experience I had had several weeks before when my sense of safety in the world had been rocked. I had gone for a walk on the MKT to try and bring my hyped up nervous system back down a bit. And I found myself standing on one of those little bridges, looking at the small bluffs by the creek and feeling in my bones almost a mystical sense that the earth had my back. That there is nothing anyone could do to me that would separate me from the earth. So held am I. So held are we. So entangled in the earth's perpetual formation and transformation from dust back to dust again in a process that we can trust. I was so moved in that moment of revelation that I had to stop on the trail and pretend to stretch out my calf muscle so that I could put my hand on the stone along the trail without looking too terribly unhinged. I needed to reach back for that rock that holds me so reliably in deeper time. And so flash forward back to the cavern that day in October, underground with my family that had been buffeted by so much grief, and surrounded by evidence of beauty in deep geologic time. I felt this same sensation 100-fold, that I was held by the earth, inseparably. And that was not a state of stasis, but that together we were in a slow and swaying dance, one that will never end. Even when the particles of me return to shape that stone upon the wind and in the trickling water. This unfolding in deeper time is so beautiful, and that beauty is so trustworthy. From a stone's eye view, rooted in the trickling pace of the earth around us, we can trust the unfolding of our lives at the scale of the intimate, the social, and perhaps even the universal. In an intimate way, it is the claim of our faith as Unitarian Universalists. We can trust that love works on us like water on stone. Often imperceptible, usually far more slowly than we would like, but inexorably. The love of others towards us and us towards other inexorably shapes and changes our lives. Grief sculpts us, wearing down every extraneous outcropping until we are made almost entirely of the preciousness of what we love and lose. Pleasure softens us like waves turning sand to smooth glass. And we mold, hew, chisel, and whittle each other, forming and transforming one another's lives with every encounter. I know I have been shaped by each of you. The American novelist Chuck Palahniuk has written, "All souls come here to rub the sharp edges off each other." This isn't suffering, he writes, it's erosion. What a beautiful and natural process, if sometimes painful. I am so thankful for how we shape one another. It is good news and spiritual truth. We shape one another slowly or quickly and entirely. Indeed, the way we form and reform and transform one another through our encounters, through the way our lives rub together, that is the reason we can trust the unfolding of our social movements as well. That amid all that is unjust and inhumane in our current systems, transformation is not only possible, change is inevitable. It's the way of the universe. Now, that change is not guaranteed to be towards thriving, but when we attend carefully to all the ways we shape one another and those around us, we can, in fact, shape change in ways that move us together toward liberation and mutual thriving. It is tempting to feel hopeless in the face of the magnitude of injustices. It is tempting to say that things are same as they ever were regarding the intractable problems around us, that they are as large and unmoving as the mountains. But the mountains are not unmoving. There is an inexorable awakening and reckoning unfolding among us, just as the mountains themselves erode and move from the perspective of geologic time. Situating ourselves in the longer thread of history, perhaps we can move together with the powerful ease of water, shaping the future we dream of, the way rivers entirely change mountains simply by flowing. We need that perspective of geologic time, the truth of stone and wind and water, that all is shifting and we are riding the change. And yet we know that some of that change is clearly and terribly moving toward destruction. Today we are enveloped by the harmful ways that we have sped up the pace of the change on this earth, away from the millennia-long shifts of the stone and toward the pace of our own neurons anxiously firing, a speed that is now hurtling us toward climate catastrophe. And I can't help but think of the irony of that it is perhaps our fear of change that has led us into a crisis of climate change on this beautiful, balanced planet. Many of the ways we've altered the climate through plunder and extraction are rooted in the pursuit of control and anxious mistrust of the ever-unfolding force of change. All the ways we have forcibly moved from geologic time to fleeting human desire, we have forgotten to trust the earth's embrace. Full of worry, we seek to either hurry up transformation or halt it in its tracks. We try to outrun time or make it stand still, maybe both at once. And in this effort, we have sped up change beyond the delicate balance of the earth's systems. And so perhaps it is the only pathway back to balance to restore our trust in the pace of geologic time, to live in the wisdom of the stone, to change and be changed inexorably with acceptance and at change itself's own pace. This is deep spiritual work, the call to trust in our own unfolding, to shape and be shaped in open exchange without control, to let ourselves be held by the earth and one another, by the stone and wind and water and all our beautiful processes. In her latest book, Erosion, writer and climate activist Terry Tempest Williams meditates lyrically on the realities of life in a climate-changed world, writing, "Erosion, what is whittled, worn, and weathered away through wind, water, and time, is as beautiful as what remains. The curvature of Earth becomes our home range. We feel how small we are in the embrace of geologic relief." And she continues, "Water freezes and shatters stone. Rocks fall from the force of gravity. New rapids appear in rivers. Storms gather and floods roar through dry washes, cutting and scouring a wider channel and changing the course of things. Perhaps this is what is happening to us. We are being worn down to our essence as we are forced to change course. We have reached a place now where we are forced to change course together for our survival, for the survival of the species with which we share the planet. And so we must return to our essence of change, our perpetual becoming. It is that return where lies our freedom, our survival, our home. What we have to know in our bones, made as they are of mineral and marrow, is that even the stone is always in flux. And what we have to remember in our bones, made as they are of stardust and water, is that we are of the same source as the stone. We are shaped like clay, carved like marble, rubbed smooth and broken apart. We must remember this if we are to survive together, if we are to thrive as we dream. Change is the nature of this world, even for stone and especially for us, and it is our release into that truth that will transform us to the good. In that, here is a promise. We can trust our unfolding. We can engage transformation with the ease and power of water shaping stone. We can allow ourselves to be rubbed smooth and beautifully carved. We can sway with the earth and move toward beauty, delicate and sharp. All it takes is a trickle of water and a long, long time. So let us sing together about our becoming. We're going to repeat our centering song from the beginning of the service. The words are in your order. I am who I'm becoming. I've only just begun.
I am all I have done. I am what I am dreaming. I've only just begun. I am
what